Sunday, 17th of December 2023. This evening's show. We run the rule over an extremely disappointing defeat as Poole crashed to Cambridge after being ahead in the game and failing to capitalise against another team in the lower half of the table once again. We're also catching up on Northampton, Barnsley and Carlisle since it's been a while since we've been on. I'm John Aspinall and this is Seaside's podcast Match Reaction show. Cambridge 2, Blackpool 1 and other stuff. Tradition. Good evening, YouTube. Good evening, Facebook Live. Welcome. Good evening if you're listening on the audio pod. Welcome back to Seaside's podcast. A Sunday evening. It's been a while on the panel this evening. Our Raggy, Mitch and Tim. Tim, fresh from his Simon Le Bon inspired holiday.
I saw your post on Facebook about that.
If anyone's friends with Tim on Facebook, do friend him if you're not his friend already. Doing his best Simon Le Bon impression out in Barbados, Tim. Again, I've said this many times, how the other half live, eh?
I know. This time last week, I was still on the beach. And how I wish I was back there after watching that yesterday.
Well, we've got a beach here. Get yourself on that one.
I know, should do. Actually, it was really good. While we're out there, we had a right. I'll maybe talk about Carlisle a bit more. We had a right crew got together for the Carlisle game. It was good. I think I sent you a picture of it earlier today, didn't I? So yeah, it was a good fun. The only problem is spoilt by the cricket. I think anything gets spoilt by cricket. To be fair, doesn't it?
Ashley was there as well, wasn't he?
Ashley,
the Duracell bunny.
Bada bing. For those who go on AVFT, he was ETT was there as well. Dave Orn, the badge man. It's good.
Mitch, not a patch on a wet weekend in Darlington, though, is it?
I was going to say,
I know which trip I'd rather be on.
Well, I was going to say before. Tim said he's canny with his money. He doesn't fritter it away on trips to Middlesbrough and stuff like that, does he?
I save up for the big ones.
Yeah,
I give them a wide berth.
Cracking transporter bridge in Middlesbrough.
Absolutely. You know, I'd rather have a pint of mild looking on a decaying transporter bridge than sipping me rum from a coconut on Barbados Beach. No competition, is there?
Who wouldn't?
Raggy, good evening. It's been a while since you came on. Good to have you back.
Yeah, I've been pessimistic all season, so not that I'm optimistic tonight, but
you're about as absent as the Blackpool South MP, aren't you? You know, you never see one of them either.
Well, no, but I'm not as bent as them.
Well, his name is Benton, isn't it?
Bent one.
Right, got a lot to catch up on since last pod, as Tim's been away. I've been away doing coaching courses, so I've not been to any games. Mitch has just been as jaded as he looks then, so I'm sure he's been to all games. Northampton, Barnsley and Carlisle, very briefly. Gentlemen, a very mixed bag indeed.
Well, before the Northampton game, I turned to the fella after, because it came just after we'd played Portsmouth, hadn't it? And there was just this weird feeling, like I'd looked on Twitter and that before, and there's just this weird feeling that we were gonna fuck it up, for want of a better term. And before the game, I said to the fella who sits next to me, I said, "What do we do if we're complete shite tonight?" And he went, "Nah, we won't be. We've turned a corner." And that is exactly what we were. I mean, I can't really remember that much about the game, other than husband played a square pass that gave them a goal. They got another goal. I think we might have scored a goal. It was probably Rhodes, and we never looked like getting back in the game. And it was just completely after the Lord Mayor's show, wasn't it?
It was Rhodes. It was a great header, actually. Yeah. He scored a great.
Yeah,
header.
It was when it was at your end.
We should have kicked on, but for some reason we just went backwards again. But same as I don't know. I turned up thinking we were going to win, and I thought this is it. We're going to have got a right good run of fixtures, and here we go. and it properly did my head in that. Following that game,
I think I remember being really pissed off after that game as well, Raggy. I was, yeah.
Well, it's been a feature of the season, hasn't it? I think we've actually managed 2 back-to-back wins all season out of however we've played now, 21, 22. And otherwise we can't get the run going, and then we get positive, don't we? When we get that second win, I think we did it. Did we do it when we beat Cheltenham and Red? I can't remember now. No, Cheltenham was after Oxford, wasn't it? We had Reading, and then we won another game, and then we had the 2 back-to-backs with the Portsmouth and whoever came before it. And you start to believe, don't you? Yeah, yes, Shrewsbury.
Tim, I'm just looking at the banner from our last show. What has changed over the last couple of games to bring such success? Quickly edit that. I think.
And it's like Critchley's there with his pin to pop the balloon of positivity, isn't it? I'm not celebrating Critchley, probably the team generally, but Jesus, I mean, I think a lot of people thought we had turned a corner when we came up against Northampton, and it took after the Lord Mayor show. It's incredibly frustrating, and I still think we've got one of the best teams in the division, but we're so inconsistent. It's incredible.
Have we though, Tim? Have we? I'm starting to think
well,
that's not the case.
maybe my assessment as to our abilities is wrong, but I look at our overall squad compared with most in this division, and I think squad and depth wise, I think we've got the players. I don't want to jump the gun, so to speak, in relation to talking about the team that's put out on Saturday, but sometimes I don't think we make the most of the resources that we've got. Let's put it that way.
I suppose the Northampton game, the one kind of mitigation for Critchley in that game was he picked exactly the same team 3 times in a row, and they looked a bit leggy. It looked like sort of, hindsight said he should have freshened it up a bit and used the squad a bit more.
Tom said that, Mitch, if you remember.
Tom he did.
Pod, he was all for.
Said, no, don't be silly.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, the Northampton game was a disappointment. But what a better way to pick yourselves up than a resounding victory in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy first round proper.
Well, I'm going to drop out of this one because I was in the car listening to Chisnall, so I have no idea what went on. So I'll let somebody else describe this.
Well, I went to the game and with the other 1,000 or whatever it was that was there. And it was a very poor first half and a very good second half, if I remember rightly. And they were good in the second half. And I think
it was a second string as well, Raggy, wasn't it? It was a second string team.
Yeah, but strong. I think that's where Tim's right with we've got a strong squad. It looked a decent enough second string. And if I remember, Morgan was the player that did a lot of that created a lot for us in the second half. He was the standout man. But it was a poor first half where we left the Northampton game.
It was good for the second string to get a run out and put on a good show, though, Tim. I suppose that rewinds back to your strong squad.
I think in all the cup games we played this year where we have mixed it up and played some of the lads who maybe haven't had as much football as they think they should have had, and maybe some of us think they should have had, is that it has shown that point I was making. It has shown that we've actually probably got 20 players who could do a decent job. And I don't think there's many teams in this division who could say the same. Now, personally, you got to say up front we've got one of the best strikers. I think we've got one of the best midfield players. And we've got a couple of extremely good wingers and very good defenders. So you start looking at that and thinking, well, why are we languishing? And it is languishing where we are and unable to put any form of consistent run together. I just watched Critchley's, again, I'm jumping forward a bit. I just watched Critchley's post-match from Saturday, and he talked about eking out draws when you're not playing well, but we're incapable of doing that. If we're not playing well, we lose. End of. And I've got my views, particularly on Saturday, as to where culpability lies, and I think we need a manager who's going to be a bit harder, I think, with certain players. Because, again, I don't want to jump ahead of that, but that, I think it's been a feature of all these games, is that we don't necessarily, and listen, it's not necessarily about playing the same team every week, but I don't think we play, or we haven't consistently played what I would think would be our best side. And yes, we've had a couple of, Portsmouth, all of a sudden we get a bit giddy, don't we? It's like we've all had the air out the inflatable balloon or something, and we're all a bit hyper.
But you're entitled to, aren't you? We're entitled to get excited beating Portsmouth 4-0 and seeing exactly what we're capable of. And then exactly. I don't know why it goes. I don't know why it goes so inconsistent. I can't put my finger on it.
I do think Northampton, actually, just going back to that game, are a better team than maybe a lot of people gave them credit for. They weren't that far behind us in the league, and they had a couple of games in hand. And they did a bit of a job on us. They did a job on CJ on the game. And, CJ will either be a world beater or he'll be bang average. And he was bang average against Northampton and should have been hooked about after the 60th minute. It was blatantly obvious he wasn't going to change out the left back that game. Or switch wings, one of the two.
It looked like he'd been told not to go past the halfway line to me during most of that game. And then I'm sure their fullback was on a yellow card for the last half an hour of that game. And he should have been bombing down that wing, but
I don't know. Mason's tactics, wasn't it?
Well, why wouldn't he run if he's a run? Are they told not to do it, or has he chose not to do it? His one asset is running. And that night, to me, it looked like every time he got past the halfway line, he stopped. Didn't bother. I don't know. Is that on the player or is it on the manager?
There's a particular type of side that seems to be kryptonite to us, which Northampton were very typical of. Is if you get a team that, they can defend, they press, they don't necessarily press high, but they get in our faces when we get the ball and they make it difficult for us. And all they have to have is somebody who's quick or strong up front who kind of keeps us honest. So, we can't throw everything at it because we've got someone half decent. And we don't know what to do with it. We can play against teams that come at us. We play against Portsmouth who came at us and we wipe the floor with them. And we can play against teams like Carlisle who come and set up in a low block and just let us play. But teams that just make it hard for us and fight. And that was exactly what Cambridge were. It's exactly what Northampton were. It's exactly what Lincoln were. Even there's all the worst performances this year have been against that sort of tough, well-drilled side that just make it difficult for us, and we just don't seem to have an answer to that. And I'm sure we'll get onto this, but I think the bottom line is why are we so inconsistent? Is because when we get stuck, we don't have an answer. We don't know how to change it. We don't have anything to go to. It's like, when what we want to do doesn't work, it's like we're too scared to get chaotic. Like, a bit of chaos is terrifying. So we just carry on doing the same thing that we've been drilled in, running in the same lines, doing the same thing, getting to the edge of the box, passing it square, going back and forth. Then eventually somebody like husband or somebody lumps it into the box and their keeper catches it or the defender heads it away, and it just repeats for about 25 minutes. But the one time I thought we really went, right, let's have it, was the Fleetwood second half, where I thought we kind of totally threw everything at them, completely overloaded. And we scored 3 goals in about 20 minutes because we were sort of working from a base of an absolute disaster of a first half where we had no choice but to do it. But we never seem to do that. It's like we just keep plugging away, doing the same thing, hoping it'll work, or making little tweaks, swapping the fullback, or, pushing somebody a little bit further up by the strikers. We don't have that belief that if plan A doesn't work, then it's okay because we'll try something else.
We need to be more chameleonic in our approach to the game. don't we?
Ooh, nice one, John.
Chameleonic.
No, I'm quoting someone. That's not
Oh,
mine.
all right.
Yeah.
Do you not remember it?
Plagiarism, is
You're
it?
staring at me blankly. That was one of yours.
Was it one of mine? Well,
Do you not remember?
who knows?
He's got so many. He's taken my mantle.
I'll have to look back through my recordings of my best bits.
Yeah, I can't believe that. Yeah. Oh, I'll claim it then. I'll claim it as my own.
I thought it was Boy George's, to be honest. But
Mick McGowan's just said in the comments, which further backs up what you were just saying there. We've only come behind this season twice to gain a point, Oxford and Fleetwood. Never mind coming behind and win. That's just not happened at all. That's quite a sorry statistic, in my opinion.
Well, I suppose that adds weight to what Mitch is saying there. With we don't know what to do when our plan isn't working. Don't have to change it.
We need Gary Medina. We need Gary Medina's plan B.
Well, he walked past the Anfield yesterday on his way back to the presumably the club hotel. A little shopping bag in his hand. Looked fit and healthy. Seemed in good spirits.
sure it wasn't a pen to sign a contract he just bought.
I don't know.
And was it a bag of spirits he was carrying in the bag?
No, well, he won't be
Bag
driving.
of team spirit, John. That's what it was.
Carlisle, very briefly. Mitch, you went. Tim didn't go. I wasn't there. I'm sure Reggie went as well. And
Well,
I liked that result because it was like the sort of result you expect us to get.
Well, it was that. I mean, this is what's doing me head in about this season. It'd almost be easier if we were just crap every week, because then you could just be angry all the time, and then that you know where you are. But then that one, Carlisle, we were so much better than them. We never even seemed to get out of about second gear. We just completely battered them. They offered absolutely nothing at all. I mean, I think they had about a 5 minute spell when they were 2 or 3-0 down, and that was it. And it looked like a championship side playing a League Two side, you know. And it's kind of like, oh no, actually we're good again, you know. It's we are good again. Yeah, this does work. It's all right. And then, you know, then we play Cambridge, and it's back to where we were against.
What we did do as well, because I was worried of that game. Obviously, I watched it remotely, and I looked at the weather conditions, and I thought it'd be a huge leveler, to be honest, which it normally is, isn't it? But Blackpool, it's almost like Critchley's managed the team on common edge, because when you're on common edge and the wind was like that, you had to play it on the floor and you had to play it to feet. And we seemed to do it, you know, we did it well. And they were useless, weren't they? They were absolutely useless and really didn't cope with the conditions. And we looked so good. Again, it was almost like watching us against Portsmouth, albeit against a slightly inferior side. We looked a good team. It wasn't, you know, and that was just, I think if the conditions hadn't been what they were, I think it would have been a more convincing result, to be honest. But yeah, we had there's 8 of us watching it in Barbados, which was quite a good little posse before we went to watch England get drilled at the cricket yet again. So it was. We went out on a high and came back on an incredible. Well, not I wasn't that bothered, but sort of a low, because it would have been good to win that. But fantastic, it was, you know. But I was genuinely worried at kickoff, looking at the wind swirling, and Dembele couldn't even. I know he was taking free kicks and corners. The ball wouldn't even stop still, would it? No. It was almost like I remember playing football in Huddersfield when I was at uni. And sometimes you had to have somebody like hold the ball as the keeper did the run up, and then just let go of it just for the kick tick, because otherwise he wouldn't stay still.
I've had that on common edge quite a few times when I used to play.
Well, that keeper we did that for. He actually kicked it forward. And to be fair, it wasn't a bad kick, but he kicked it too high and it came back and went out for a corner. The wind was that strong. But,
who saw Simo's post match?
Oh yeah.
Where he was scathing at a few Carlisle fans, wasn't he, for basically telling him to F off.
I think he's one of them, though, isn't it? Because Simo's a proper legend there, isn't it? He's where he's from. It's his club. He's dragged him from basically the brink of non-league football. It's one of them where I think for any other manager, that's suicide. But he's probably got the the credit in the bank. And he's also, I don't know, he's a good bloke, and he'll say what he thinks rather than what he thinks he should say.
Right, let's move on to the main course, as it were. So we've beaten Carlisle 3-0. We're all cock a hoop. We're going to Cambridge United, who aren't exactly pulling up trees in League One. Fully expect us to go and do a job on them. This was the lineup: Grimshaw, Connolly, Husband, Pennington, Norburn, Carey, Dembele, Rhodes, Beasley, Hamilton, and Lyons, O'Donnell, Gabriel, Dale, Morgan, Joseph, Virtue, and Casey on the bench. Tim, come to you first. Your thoughts, and obviously,
well, you can imagine what my immediate thoughts were.
Yeah, where the F is Kenny?
Where the F was Dougal?
Does anyone know? Was he injured?
Critchley said he was rested. I've
Why
listened
do
to
you
his post.
Why do you rest Kenny in
Pateta.
that? Why do you rest Kenny in that form?
There is a rumor flying about something to do with Thailand.
I've heard this.
It's not. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's something to do with his missus.
January I know he hasn't signed a new contract yet, has he?
Something to do. I mean, I'm only going off what somebody was saying in my ear hole, but something to do with his missus has got a YouTube channel, and she might have mentioned something along them lines.
Right.
Well, he apparently said, and I've not heard this, but I read it earlier. He apparently said in summer that he wants to go back more towards his side of the world and be nearer home. But the club activated his contract, didn't they? So there might well be something in it. I don't know.
We can go with that story that Owen Oyston's bought a club in Thailand and he's signed Dougal. If you want to set,
he's a bit of a surfer dude, isn't he? So I can imagine not having a bit of warmth on his back on a regular basis. Well, after a while, particularly if his missus is from.
He should start hanging around with you more then, Tim.
I know.
Yeah.
Come on, Kenny. Come. I'll sort you out.
Got Tim's
bombs for a weekend.
As Dave Jenkins has said in chat, why does Kenny need a rest? They haven't played for a week, which and
he could have rested him on Tuesday, couldn't he? Which he might still. I think the way Critchley spoke in his post match, I don't think we'll see him involved on Tuesday either.
No.
But I don't know. I mean, there's some players who, when they come back from injury, let's use the example of Lyons, has to almost like fight for 5 or 10 minutes of football, doesn't he? And then he proves that he should be playing, and eventually finds his way back into the team. And then like Norburn just comes swanning back in, even though he's not kicked a ball for 8 weeks. And I think it's a huge mistake. I think this was a game that, as we go into the Christmas period, you want to go in it on a positive and on a high. We've just won, a decent game. We've won in the Mickey Mouse Cup. We have a little bit of a blip against Northampton, but we'd had a couple of good wins before that, and it would have sent the right message. And I just think that to rest. I mean, I can understand resting at Pateta if you're going to play Casey. I mean, let's get it right. Casey had been one of our most consistent performers. He got sent off, and he's not had a sniff since.
We've just got a new contract. Since we've given him that contract, I don't think he's played for us apart from in the Tin Pot Cup. So, what's going on there?
Yeah, but even with Pateta, 18 months ago, we were talking about him potentially being one of the best centre halves in the Championship,
Premier League. We were talking,
and now he can't get in a team in League One, a mediocre team, mid-table. Bloody, I don't know what's going on there. They've ruined him, though. Somebody.
So anyway, get back to my original thoughts. Obviously, I thought, where's Pateta? Because obviously, straight away you start looking down at the subs list, don't you? Where's Pateta? But more importantly, where's Dougal? Other than that. I was sort of. I mean, Beasley seems to have really cemented his place in the team at the moment. I'm not sure whether that's warranted But
He's done all right.
he's
Bees.
done
It's
enough.
a
He's done
difficult
enough,
one,
hasn't
isn't
he? He's done
It's
enough.
a difficult one, and you
probably.
keep looking at Joseph, going, "Why is Joseph not playing?" But Bees has actually done all right in the last few games.
Yeah.
He actually had a very good game against Carlisle by the standards of what a very good game for Bees is, anyway.
Any more? If we go on to the game itself.
I suppose the only reason there's quite a lot of comments about what's Connolly doing in there, and I suppose the only reason I could think of was because actually Carlisle had absolutely nothing against him, and maybe Critch thought, "Oh, he's in form because he kept Joe Garner quiet, didn't he?" And against Carlisle, I don't know, but the other thing about Ekpiteta missing is Ekpiteta's a kind of player, and I'll come on to this later, but Ekpiteta's the kind of player that with about 10 minutes to go, you can bung him up front and wang the ball at him because he's big, and when you don't have, and his pace as well, like that back line's a little bit sluggish, and he's easily the quickest out of our set of defenders. And it just seems strange he's in the bin, and it seems really strange that Dougal's not on the bench.
There must be something in it.
There must be.
It doesn't make sense to me. It
No.
just does not make sense on any level. To rest.
Unless he's just told him to have a weekend, literally have, because obviously if he's on the bench, he's travelling, isn't he? So it's like 3 days, 2-3 days away. If he's just said to him, "Look, before we go to this Christmas period, have a week off, and whether it is go get some sun on your back or go and just have a bit of family time, because it is hard work for them over Christmas, isn't it? They've got a lot of football to play, and we have got, particularly now we've got this game on Tuesday night. We've got, I think is it something like 6 games in 9 days or something stupid.
Yeah, but you rest him for that, Tim, don't you? You play him in the
Well,
weekend,
I know, but if you want to give him a decent break on the basis you're going to play him all the way through Christmas, then do you say to him, "Have a week off now"? But I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying I'm trying to offer some logical explanation other than Kenny's told him, "I'm going as soon as I can," and
I'm going to play throwing,
and Critchley doesn't like it.
Well, I suppose you could make a whole hypothetical scenario up about Duke saying to him, "Look, I want to go in January," and Critch going, "Why?" And he going, "Well, I've been over here away from my family or whatever," and Critch saying, "Listen, I don't want you to go. How about go and have a weekend, go and get your head clear, go and see what but this is just pure conjecture, isn't it? But who knows?
Okay. First half then. I think we started the game quite brightly, and first on the score.
Well, I thought so. I thought we started off okay. And then, I'll tell you what happened to me. We went 1-0 up. I disappeared outside on the phone to my missus, just seeing the baby was all right and everything. And then I said, "Oh, it's great news, 1-0 up." Walked back in the room, 1-1. So I missed that little bit. So I don't
Did a Smith.
Yeah. Did a Smith.
Everyone just moaning about offside, and I've still not seen it back, so I don't know.
They reckon in the Radio Lank studio it wasn't, but obviously because of the camera angle, you don't see it. I actually think Hubby.
Let's rewind, Tim. Let's just rewind to our goal.
Goal first. Yeah.
Dembele to Chisnall it. Dembele. Great ball, Tim or Mitch from Dembele, and Jordan Rhodes You do not leave Jordan Rhodes completely unmarked.
The top striker in the division, and you just don't mark him. Let him have He could have done anything with that. He could have chested it down and volleyed it in. He could do anything he wanted. He had that much time.
He could have actually chested it in like he has done this season.
To be fair, it was a good cross, and it was an impeccably headed goal, wasn't it? It just shows what quality he's got, and it does make me fear for where we will be. And again, a topic I'm sure for later, but where we'll be without it, because he's ratio-wise, he's scored an incredible number of our goals. And it was great. It's good to see a striker score with a head. Too many times they don't, do they? They're blazing over the bar, or they tamely head it into the keeper's hands, and he hit it with accuracy and power. He's the real deal, isn't he?
Do you remember that pod when I looked at his XG as an individual player and said he's like got twice as many as anybody else in the team, and he's on course to score about, if he plays 40 games, he'll score 39 goals or something. And he actually is, isn't he? I mean, he just can't stop. It's unreal.
Let's address that nightmare scenario that Tim has just mentioned. Then, what's going to happen if Jordan Rhodes goes back to Huddersfield in January?
I don't think he'll go back, but that's not based on much other than he's old enough to make his own decisions now, and I don't think he'll end up wanting to go back there. But then again, I don't know how much money he's on there, how much we're paying, what it'll cost to sort it out, or if they do want him back at all. But in my current mindset, I think it's irrelevant anyway, because we're not going up and we're not going down. So, but I suppose if you take him out of it, that is the last hope of us going up. Gone. But I don't think if we have a bang average Christmas, it's going to be irrelevant. We might as well let him go. If he's going to go, don't pay anything and sign him at the end of the season if he'll come back.
So, Tim, is that fair to say if Rhodes goes, season over?
I don't see anybody. Joseph, I think the jury's out on him at the moment, isn't it?
He doesn't
most
look like
expensive
he doesn't
striker
like
in
a
League
20.
One.
He's not doesn't like a 20-goal a season striker, does he?
No, and if he's listen, we don't know how long Lavery's out. We don't know how long Kouassi's out, but none of them, probably Lavery accepted, look like they could put a run of goals together, really. And what you've got there is you've got the consummate goal scorer who, as Mitch says, if he plays the full season in this league, he scores 30. Now, the fact that we are where we are when he's been scoring the goals that he has is a testament to our mediocrity, unfortunately. And, with the icing on the cake that he's brought, we should be top 3, top 4, and we're not. And that's because of other issues in the team. And I'll be incredibly disappointed to see him go if he does. As Raggy says, will he go? Do Huddersfield really think he can do a job for them? The problem is if they're struggling and you've got a player there who might be on 15 goals by that stage, by the time we get to the end of December, maybe even a few more, who looks like he's full of confidence, they're gonna have a question's going to be asked if they don't bring him back. I think, unless they've got a plan B, unless they've got their own purchases that they've got lined up to try and. I'm not quite sure where they are in the league. I've not checked before today, but they're struggling, aren't they?
Fourth
bottom, right? So yeah, they've got a tough gig, and if you have him on the bench, you could bring him on 15 minutes, and he might score a few goals. It's worth millions to them, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And from what I heard, they were playing young lads up front who weren't scoring, and I can't say I've studied them and who they've got, and
they've got Flapswell in net as well.
Yeah.
You'd need a boost just with that.
Is Turton still there?
I'm gonna have a look.
Not sure he's playing.
They sound like they've got the makings of a proper League One side, don't they?
No.
But I think you've probably hit the nail on the head there, Tim, is that if he's worth, 8-9 million in championship money to him, they might bring him back and potentially lose a fee for him, but there's no way we're going to pay 8 or 9 million for him.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to pay 8-9 million for anyone.
And sometimes it's about being, as a club, not giving your critics the ammunition to have a go at you, isn't it? And at least if he's there and if he doesn't perform, they can say, well, we brought him back and he didn't perform. I mean, I think I endorse what Raggy says. I know we tend to be up and down a bit depending on how our results go, which is sort of natural, but I generally think we're going nowhere this season, whatever. I think we're far too inconsistent. So unless there is a huge change in mindset and in personnel, I think we're going to be in around where we are at the moment, unfortunately. And And I sorry to revert back to my holidays, but I've literally just booked to go away Easter, and I've not even looked at the fixture list. Now, the first thing I normally do when I'm booking a holiday is look at the fixture list and try and work around it, so I don't miss any game. I've not even looked because I know it's going to be absolutely pointless. That's where I feel at the moment. Now, whether that's justified or not is another matter. But I can't remember the last time I've gone away during the season and not thought, right, because sometimes you think, right, well, I'll go on if I go on the Sunday, I remember doing it with the Preston game last year. I go on the Sunday, I can get the Preston game in on the Saturday, and then I come back on Friday and I don't miss the Saturday game. It's not even crossed my mind this time. And that's probably because of the deflation of yesterday. But I think a lot of people are of that mindset. Raggy clearly is. And listen, if we win 3 or 4 games over Christmas, I'm sure that mindset's going to change again, and we'll be the glass half full. But at the moment,
let's see what you're missing, Tim.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I'm missing Wickham at home. Oh, I'm missing Derby away, Wickham at home, and Cambridge at home.
Yeah, we'll be long gone by them.
We'll be up by them.
No,
no chance.
Yeah, you say about getting down and that, and I know people say, "Oh, we're only 4 points out of players, and if we win this game, we win these 3 on the bounce." But we're not winning them.
We're not putting the runs.
We all want everyone to win. Nobody wants us to lose. We want to win every game. I want to win every game. I want to carry Critchley on my bleeding shoulders, running around the ground on the last game of the season. But it's just there's no buzz, there's no appetite coming out of the club or anything that says we're going for promotion. We're at it. It doesn't. It's up and down, and there's no feel to it. And whenever we've been promoted in the past or had good seasons, there's a feeling about it all the way through the season. There's an excitement and you can see momentum going. There's nothing here at all, and we're nearing halfway through. So I know Christmas is a big time, and 5 quick games can change things, but you almost know now we'll win 2, draw 1, and lose 2.
Yeah, well, and we've played 2 more than most of the teams around.
Yeah.
As well, we've got to bear in mind. So we are. There's an argument to say that we're slightly higher in the league than we should be.
Yeah, we should
maybe
be.
we drop down to 10th or 11th when those teams catch the games up.
I suppose the hope isn't it, that we can, we stay in touch over Christmas and, I don't know, win 3, draw 2 or something, stay in touch, and then we pull it out the bag in January, however it is, and we buy whatever that difference is, or we loan whatever that difference is that gives us something to do when we look lost. I mean, I'd say,
but is it the players though, or is it, as you said before, the tactics that we have one way of playing,
I think,
and we do not change, and we can't change, and we've no idea, because who would you bring in? We've got the leading goal scorer.
I think it's
we've got some of the best creative players.
I think it's a combination of both, Raggy. I think he drills and he drills and he drills and he wants them to do a certain thing, and I think they're quite a compliant bunch of lads that'll do what they're told, and I think you've probably got to try and bring somebody in who's got a bit of nous on the pitch to go, actually no, let's do this, do that. At times players have to manage themselves sometimes, and I'm obviously joking when I say that, let's bring Gary Medina, he'll fire us to the Premiership, ha ha ha. I'm obviously joking, but you need someone like that who has got the ability to think for himself on a football pitch, and the ability to go and put himself about and do something, and or whoever it is, to go and go, oh, this isn't working, I'm going to go and stand over here and I'm going to run, I'm going to do this, above sort of, let's just do the same thing for the next 25 minutes. And when we've been good under Keogh, we've had people under Critchley, we've had people like Medina, we've had people like Keogh.
That's what we need. You've just answered the problem.
Yeah.
Keogh. Sorry, Mitch.
What, new manager?
Go on. Mid-monologue.
I think I'm done. I think I've said what I said, is that, And I think it's almost he's not a good in-game manager. He never has been.
No.
We have never gone, wow, what an amazing tactical wizard he is in games. He's a good coach. He gets them going up and down doing the drills. Sort of, when we're good, and we look like a good unit. The last few games when we've been good, I think we've come out of the ground going, yeah, they've all played well there. It was a good team performance, and that's when it's going well. But when it's not going well, he's not. Look at the way. We've completely tangented away from the Cambridge game, but Neil Harris absolutely outmanaged him. Put him in a box, sort of. I don't know what this metaphor is. Really, put him in a box and jumped on his head or whatever it is. Because Neil Harris was reading and feeling that game, and he was tweaking, and he was pulling strings. And Critchley's never done that. He's never been that kind of manager. So maybe you need the players to do it. People always say, "Oh, we need to go and get another manager to be the assistant." Well, maybe you need a couple of players that have got that leadership, that management on the pitch, that nous on the pitch, that sort of I don't care attitude. We're going to win this game anyway, whatever it takes attitude. We need a couple of them.
That Kenny Dougal, baby.
Well, I mean, Dukes has been the nearest we've had for this season for that, hasn't he? He's been the heart of everything good we've done of late.
As Steve has just said in the comments, our Oxford pal quotes, anyone think you've just been relegated? Again, chin up, lads, you're bloody eighth. Yeah.
Yeah, we know we are. That's why our chins are on the floor, mate. It's League 1 8th. And not looking like we're going anywhere further than that.
I think what's slightly frustrating about it is that, like you say, like Raggy said before, it does feel flat. It feels, I don't know.
It's only one defeat,
yeah,
though, isn't it?
It is, but it's that thing where if we aren't going anywhere this year, I don't know. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. But it does feel like we're losing too many games that we should be getting something out of. We're halfway and we're on course for about 68 points, which isn't enough.
Yeah.
And I know
it's
that's
every other week.
It's
every other week.
Exactly. But what we're not also doing is if we were halfway, but I don't know, you had Rob Apter and some other kid tearing it up, you'd be kind of thinking, yeah, but wait until we get good. Wait until this comes together. But it's kind of like it's quite a middle-aged football side. It's kind of like the dregs of what we had last time with some players that haven't ultimately been that convinced. We've brought in quite a lot of older players, and it just hasn't. You kind of think that's got to work. Like Pennington's 29, isn't he? Norburn's 31. These players are brought in, and it's not quite worked yet. And I don't know. Get Gaz back, done, sorted.
We signed Sonny Kaikai. Maybe he could do a job for us.
Yeah, well, that little sneaky handball and through pass class.
This will cheer us up. This is what we could be winning next season. This season, get him back. The thud of the ball. Roar of the crowd. Right, Tim, let's get back to the game. Let's talk about Kachunga. What a great name, eh?
I don't know. But I think
foul
it was
in the build-up. Ridiculous foul in the build-up, though. Was it handball? Sorry. Handball. Yeah, on Lions. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
There was. I mean, the referee, and I think Critch has a right to be slightly aggrieved here. I thought the referee was appalling all game. Actually, I look back, I thought they'd got about 8 yellow cards, and they actually only had 4, but obviously one of them was a double yellow. So it's I don't know whether that count comes out when it's a red. So there was another 2 there. I think they did, but they seem to get yellow cards left, right, and centre. There was some very poor decision making, I thought, from the ref. Lions does get flattened as part of the build up to the move, but I think what is it? I don't want to call players out too much, but there's a feature of our football, I think, when Connolly plays in that back three, is there's a lot of hands going up. It used to be something
Norburn especially.
Yeah, no, but it reminds me what Jack Gins used to be like back in the 80s.
The Arsenal back four. off the full Monty as well.
It was just we said rather than focus on defending the move, we're too busy pissing around, putting our hands up, and staying stationary, hoping we're going to get the decision. Well, if we're going to get the decision, we're going to get the decision, but you don't stop. And
if you look, Tim, if you look how stationary Norburn was, it was for a good 2 seconds.
Yeah,
and
if Connolly was the same. Both of them in that middle.
If he hadn't done it, Norburn would have got back and covered.
5 yards ahead of them.
Yeah,
they were 5 yards ahead of them because they stopped to put the hands up, and so obviously when the ball then comes in from the left, I mean, Jesus, they did their best to miss it, didn't they? The first guy was like, "It is shin." And you know, they were quite fortunate to score the goal, but the reality is that they had they had the attacking momentum, and our defensive cover was still 5 yards behind, having just lowered the hand to think, "Oh shit, we're not going to get it," and we're going to we better try and catch them up, but it was too late. I think another thing I'd say is we were incredibly fortunate not to concede at least another during this phase of play, if not two, because they were every time they did it, they skinned us. And it seemed to be like we struggle. I think unless you were Pateta in there and maybe Casey, we really struggle with the pace, any pace against us, and we can't keep up. And we don't help ourselves, we stop.
Play to the whistle, rule number one, Mick, innit? Yeah.
If you got it, by the time that ball's got, there is absolutely 0 point in stopping and putting your hand up, because you're either going to get it, it's gone. That phase of play is gone. The pass is already gone. You don't stop. Anyway, rant over.
It's a fair point though, Tim.
I don't even think
he's doing me head as a junior manager. It did me head as a junior manager if players did that. And if I was Critchley, I'd be thinking, what the hell are they doing?
I don't even think it was. I don't think it was offside, Tim. I think that's the thing.
No, I don't either. I think Jimmy played him on.
Yeah,
Jimmy played him on. But that's not that. I'm not blaming Jimmy. But the fact is, we've got the two players alongside him both stop and stick their hand in there and think it's offside. I mean, they checked. To be fair, the guy in the middle checked his run. I think Connolly also checked himself, didn't he, to stop himself from playing him on. But I don't think he could see that Jimmy was behind him. He was perhaps 3 or 4 yards further forward. But the angles aren't great. Listen, we're not getting match of the day style analysis with the lines going across the pitch, are we? We get it from the centre. We get the cat with one camera on the centre circle. And it's showing it. It's showing it at whatever 45-degree angle.
Whatever angles we're getting, the fact is it was tight. And as a player, if you know it's tight, then you know there's a chance you're not going to get it, so you carry on playing. Yeah. That's the bottom line, isn't it? Yeah. It's not like it was. It's not like it was. There was 3 yards offside with clear daylight or anything. It whatever it was tight. Carry on.
Unprofessional. Let's move on to what turned out to be the winner. Obviously, a penalty. Sloppy goal again.
Skinned again. Cut us. Butter through knife, I think, is the adage that's used with these things, isn't it? With the little... Was it Kai's knock through?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Parting of the waves.
Butter through knife? Knife through butter?
Is that what I said? Sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They must do things differently in Barbados.
You know what I meant. The thought was there anyway.
He's been on that rum that he brought back from duty free.
Yeah. Well, my first thought was Grimshaw's getting sent off. So they did well to not get sent off. There might have been players covering. I've not looked back at everything. But
to be fair, that ball went right, didn't it? And if you saw it went right, there was players going to be covering on the lines.
I just thought it's going to be a nightmare. But, well, it was anyway. But
Ryan Lowe's picked up on Tim's faux pas there. But yeah, to go in at half time 2-1 down from a very promising start, and I fully expected us to kick on and win the game 2 or 3-0 after going 1-0.
Did you notice that name?
Pathetic.
Did you notice the name of that geezer you just pulled up then, by the way?
Ghassan Ahadme.
No, the one before.
Oh, Ryan Lowe. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's not that little Preston tit, is it?
Well, that sugared the bitter pill we had to swallow over the weekend, didn't it, Tim?
No, I know Lowe. He's just messaged me on here. I assume that is Lowe, although there's a third Ryan Lowe that I know.
Yeah, there's a feature of the weekend. I think all the local teams pretty much lost, didn't they? So we were in good company, bad company, whatever you want to call it. But it did sugar that bitter pill, to use that expression, John.
I finally used it in the correct context, in the natural flow of a conversation.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Second half then. Bit of a damp squib. We could have been 3-1 down very easily within the first couple of minutes. Grimmy's got us out of the shit, hasn't he? The brilliant save.
Great save.
So, but quite again a very unprofessional start to the second half. That'd been game over had that gone in.
I think it was the old half-time bongs, wasn't it? We
They're back on
going back to the promotion season.
I think we probably nipped off after we'd scored in Partuck. I think about 25-minute bongs, and then half time we maybe topped them up with a quick 3 Skinner and then ran out.
Ironically, it wasn't Grimmy on it because he was the only one that was on the ball, wasn't he?
Grimmy's immune. John Grimmy's immune because he just lives in a cloud. Don't touch him anymore.
Mark's just said we were absolutely gash in that second half.
We really were.
Hopeless. Yeah, hard to argue.
We really were.
And Dennis says Rhodes did have an incredibly good chance, and one that
I couldn't believe he missed that.
You'd almost say it's like a proper bread and butter goal.
The goal was gaping. Yeah.
Hit the target and it's in.
You bet your mortgage on him sticking that away.
Yeah.
I actually fell over on the floor in my front room and put my head in my hands, and the other half came in and she went, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I just went, "Jordan Rhodes has just missed," and she just shook her head at me like, "What's wrong with you?" But it was just we were awful that second half. Can I have another rant? Can I have another rant about not changing it? What? This is the thing. It's right. We've got this kind of way we want to play, and when it works, great. We beat Portsmouth 4-0, and we make Carlisle look like a non-league team, and that's really good, and that's fine. But when it's not working, and we're playing like we did against Cambridge or Lincoln or whoever, the games where it's been crap, all we did that game was we shuttled up the touch line, and then slung the ball into the box for about half an hour, and we didn't do anything to, like, that's the way we're playing. If that's the way we're playing, that's the way it's going, then make Connolly useful, stick him on the keeper as we swing it in, or chuck Connolly into midfield and then throw one of the midfielders up front to make 3 strike. Do something about it. Like, react to what is happening in the game with the way you make subs. And the subs he made, I just didn't really get why he made them. I didn't see why particularly changing Lyons for Gabriel made any particular difference to the structure or formation of the team, or giving Morgan his regulation 9-minute run out made any particular difference to the team compared to what was kind of needed, which was to get in there. All we did was sling the balls in the box. Okay, get people on the end of it, make it as hard as possible, and we still had 3 players sort of floating around the edge of the box to I don't know what for. It was like we didn't react to what was happening in the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's incredibly predictable. You could telegraph what was going to happen each time the ball went forward. We would pass it across the middle of the park from left to right, from left or right to left. It would eventually end up going out wide, and then we would have, and there was some rather poor, shall we say, attempts at delivering the ball into the middle, almost farcical in some cases. And generally they were overhit or they're underhit or very rarely found a player. And then it was just rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Particularly, I mean, when they went down to 10 men, we should have had a right good go at them, but we just seemed to stick to this snail pace football. But it's difficult, I suppose, because they're all sat behind the ball. Literally, every one of them, every Cambridge player was sat behind the ball as you would do, because obviously they're trying to preserve the lead. But we just didn't do anything different at all. We've got Dembele taking a corner and managing to touch it twice and kick it out for a goal kick. And then there was something else on the other side, and I went, "Oh my God!" And Dale sort of did like almost like a back pass header at the keeper at one point when he had a bit of space, and you knew we weren't going to score, didn't we? You could just tell.
We just need Nelson back to throw him in there, don't we? A big hoof in.
Do you know, watching that game in that stadium on the TV, it casted my mind back to the really bad old days of scraping around in the 3rd and 4th division. The view of the corrugated roof on that main stand. Do you know what I mean?
It's a proper League 2 ground.
Proper old school League 3, League 4 stadium, and it took me back to those days where we were just utterly hopeless under Worthington and those eras. Hendry, worthless. Just said him. But it was a sorry day.
I don't think we're quite as bad as that yet, but we are in them divisions again, aren't we?
Yeah.
And do you know what does my head in? There seems to be an acceptance that it's okay, and I don't know why. Everyone, it's all right. We might win next. We might do this, but there's no urgency. There's nothing comes out of the whole club. But the fan base are all in that mindset as well, or a majority, from what I can see all the time. Like, it's all right. We consolidate. I mean, might consolidate this year. Might go up next year. We might make the playoffs. But I'm still hopeful we can make the playoffs. You hear people say it all the time. But I mean, what we're hopeful to make League One playoffs. We're hopeful that we're going to be all right in League One. It's not good, but you tell me, do you think that anything comes out of the football club that sounds like we're really pushing for promotion? I'm sure they want it, but they're not selling it.
There's very little comes out at all at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't think for 1 minute they believe at all that we are going to do it. Which says, and then it gets, maybe that's part of the inconsistency. Maybe the players are up and down, motivated 1 week, and then they're not the next, and I don't know. But it certainly doesn't inspire anyone. Hence why we all sit on here like a load of morbid old men. Because that's where you are, isn't it? It's hard to get motivated. I'm usually up and positive and come on, let's get into them. We're the best team in the world. We're the best club in the world. I believe it, but we don't sell it. The club are acting to me like a League One mediocre club, and that's what we've got. That's where we're going to end up. And I say everyone, it's not everyone, but there seems to be an acceptance of it. Well, it's all right. We've been here before in these divisions. Well, that's irrelevant. We've been here before. We should be up. We should be up in the Championship. We should have started this season absolutely banging on about it as well. I only found it the other day. It's on that internet. You see that study, well, not study, that survey or whatever they call it. They put together somebody about the historic football results since football began and where every team would be in the league. And we'd be 32nd, Blackpool. You find it on the internet. 32nd in the league, which means we'd be 12th in the Championship. That's our rightful position. And why anyone would accept anything less than that, I don't know. I know we are where we are. Sorry, Tim.
No, I was going to say, I was backing you up, really. It's all right. Yeah. Steve's come on, obviously, in Oxford saying, well, you're 8th. We're 8th having played more games. But Portsmouth have got 50% more points than us at this point in the season with a game in hand. So we're so far away from the top when we've come down with a lot of Championship players. And even if you look at the other, look at some of the others, when they win that, which they probably will, and we're 10 points behind them. So we've got absolutely zilch chance of getting automatic at the moment, bar an absolute miracle. And we're not showing the signs of getting into the playoffs. So That could change. I accept that. It should change. But it's we need to start winning 3 or 4 back to back, and it's just not happening. And we're losing the third to teams who are bang average, and it's the bang average teams. I bet if I look down the bottom of the league, it's full of teams who've taken points off us. Cheltenham nearly did. They're bottom. I mean, how the hell, we scraped the home win against them. Fleetwood have taken points off us. Exeter, we did win against Burton, to be fair, didn't we? We lost to Wickham. Wigan,
Port Vale.
Cambridge. Port Vale, we drew.
Sorry.
Did we beat Orient? I can't remember the Orient result. But all those teams that we haven't, that bottom, the teams below us, we've not taken a lot of points off them. Nowhere near enough. And the teams that were at the top have beaten all of them. And that's the difference. We can't beat the bang average teams in this division.
I still think it just comes down to we're not willing to try. I said it earlier on. It's almost as if the ugliness of trying to play that way is something that we don't want to do. The purity of whatever it is that we're trying to do outranks the value of winning some of these games in ugly or unconventional or chaotic ways. And that flatness this season, it's weird. I don't know. It does feel really flat. I think the only time I've really, really enjoyed it, I said before, was Fleetwood away for that half an hour. You were there, John, with me.
Yeah.
That half an hour was mad, wasn't it? It was great. And then we screwed it up, but I still enjoyed that half an hour because it just felt like we completely and utterly just went, right, I don't care. We're not losing,
We played like a Holloway team, didn't we, Mitch?
Yeah,
we played like a Holloway team.
And it was like we did what we needed to do. We had 7, 8, 9 players in their half. And when can you think of when we've been chasing a game? Those like 0-0s at home. When have we done anything vaguely unconventional, like throw a keeper up for a corner or send this, put the centre half up for the last 5 minutes? And we just don't seem to do anything like that. And it's just kind of like, oh well, it's not our week this week. Never mind. We'll, and we might, we do then go and beat someone 3-0, but that's fine. But we've still lost that game, and that it's getting to me a bit, that, because the Critch team, the last Critch team, particularly in that championship season, you got the sense that sometimes it was proper over my dead body stuff, and that doesn't seem to be there.
Well, you could probably see it in, I can't remember any, but I might be wrong, but any last minute goals that are meaningful.
Wigan, I think, is probably the only one, isn't it, I can think of.
Yeah,
because they equalised and we scored again, didn't we?
That's right. But that aside, then you know what I'm saying, though, don't you? When teams are having a good season, you see it all the time, don't you? 90th minute equaliser, 90th minute 1-0 win.
We throw wins away like Charlton away. That really pissed me off. That Charlton game. Professional. Just the top teams see those games out. They don't throw away 2-0 win away in the last 10 minutes. We do. And that Fleetwood game as well.
Oh, there's so many of them games, though, when I think about them. Fleetwood and Northampton and bloody Cambridge and whoever else this season. It just made me go, oh.
Let's try and spin things then. As Dave Dixon has just said, remember, Bolton have just lost at home to Bristol Rovers. All teams can lose to anyone this league. Who do we play?
Yeah, but they went down to 10 men and they can afford to lose one, can't they? Because they're second.
Yeah.
They've done that. We're all going to lose. I don't think anyone's expecting. I'm certainly not expecting us to win every game. But we are. Well, if you just take the next 5 games now, and they're all against teams lower than us, and my money would be on 2 wins, a draw, and 2 defeats. And that'll sort of say it all to me. That's where we are. Mediocre, where Bolton will go into their next 5 games after losing today and probably win 4 out of the 5 at least. Just what Portsmouth did, didn't they? We beat them 4-0. What did they won the last 3, 4?
Smashed Northampton, didn't they?
Yeah. Didn't they won the last 3 or 4 since?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Inconsistent. And I think Mitch has hit it on the head, really. Hit the nail on the head or put the butter through the knife or whatever it is we're talking about. With no game plan. No plan B at all. Not even a plan A plus.
Yeah. One formation, one style of play, no plan B.
And I think there's a lot said about the formation. I don't think it's that. I think it's having one fixed formation. Like every formation has its pros and cons. You can play 4-4-2, 4-5-1, 4-3, whatever. You're going to come up against some games where it don't work because the other team will cancel it out or they'll have particular attributes that will expose you or whatever. But it's then the ability to adapt to that and do something different. And we just don't. We're fine when we're in control of games. Like when we're in control of games going our way, we're a really good team. But you're not going to have that every game, are you? You're not going to have that. You're going to have that 50% of games at best.
Shall we do player ratings? I can be asked, to be honest.
There'll be some low ones in there.
You'll be able to replay this at the end of the season when we're promoted.
Yeah.
So it was just, we knew all along.
Medine, 119 minutes.
Yeah, there's your last minute goal.
Rattle through them, John, quick, without a lot of...
Yeah, do we want to?
Bullshit. Yeah, go on quickly, go
on. Okay. Grimmy. Let me get the graphic
Who's going
up.
first?
Tim can.
Yeah, I thought he did. I actually thought he didn't do too badly, really. He was arguably, as Raggy said, lucky to stay on the pitch, but I don't think you can really fault him too much. Couldn't do much with the pen. Pulled off a good save in the second half.
He was doing his pointing on the pen again. I was thinking of you, Tim. Were you shouting at the screen when he was doing it?
I hate that. 7.
Callum Connolly, Mitch. Shoehorned into the team, according to some.
Yeah, he wasn't vintage, was he? He doesn't convince as the centre of a back three at all. I try not to be too cruel. 4-.
Husband, Raggy.
He can't ever get less than a 6, and he got a 6. So there you go.
Pennington, Tim.
Not one of his better games, was it?
The back three were all wanting in this game.
5.
Mitch, Ollie Norburn. This is going to be interesting.
Do you want a fun fact?
Love a fun fact, me. Love them.
Okay, fun fact, right? I think, whether Norburn himself is problematic, I'm not sure, but I think his unwillingness to shoot ever is problematic. And I watched him just recycle the ball over and over again, and now they go sideways or that little chip over the top that he likes. And he just never, ever, ever has a shot at goal. So I thought I'll compare him to Kenny. And Dougal shoots more than 3 times as often as Norburn. Norburn averages 1 shot every 3.1 games or something like that. And I think when we're good, we've all said this, when we're good is when we're on the front foot. When this group of players are good is when they're all going for it. And it's almost like when you've got Norburn in the midfield, their defence just thinks, well, he's not going to shoot. So they just reset and kind of mark everybody else. So that's my Norburn fun fact. I thought he was quite poor. I thought whether he was rusty or, I don't know, 4+.
It's probably being generous. Raggy, Sonny Carey had a good shot in the first half. Lucky with that.
Yeah.
Bit busier than the rest.
Another player in it that should be kicking on. Does now and again. And then... but much like the rest of them. So 5 yesterday.
Karamoko Dembele, Tim.
Not his best game, was it? I mean, he was still
an
trying
assist.
to do...
Got an assist.
Well, I was going to say, he got the assist. He gets an extra point for the assist, and he loses a point for the fact that he managed to double kick a corner straight to a goal kick, which is remarkable.
This year's have it.
6+. It was he tries to do the positive stuff, just didn't quite come off from him in the same way it's done in other games today. Yesterday, I should say.
Okay, 6+ for Dembele. You've got Jordan Rhodes, Mitch.
Yeah, he scored a goal. Nearly scored another one, or could have scored another one. Didn't really do anything wrong, did he? Just did what he does. 7, probably 7+, to be fair, because he got a goal, and you shouldn't really drag him down by the context of everybody else, should you?
No. Jake Beasley, Raggy.
Yeah, all right. I like Jake Beasley anyway. I think he's all right. And he does remind me a little bit. I'll never be as good as John Murphy, by the way, but he's got a little bit of the similarities about him.
Said that.
Yeah, he can't run. No, he does. He does. And I do like him. But nothing, I don't know, 6 for yesterday.
Yeah, that's fair. CJ Tim. A Marmite player for some.
Yeah, I like Marmite as well, but
which CJ turned up?
Not the best one. Not the best one, really, was it? We didn't really see the best of him, did we, yesterday? When he's on song, and listen, he's been on song probably more than he hasn't been this season. He's a joy to watch, and he's an incredibly useful player to have. I just thought it was a bit anonymous, really, yesterday. That was my gut reaction. How much of that
the
was
whole
his
squad? The whole team had a bit of a stinker.
Yeah,
really,
no. So he didn't get the ball right, and you know it was just a flat performance always round, wasn't it? And the problem with CJ is if he's in the defensive half of the pitch, he's not going to do anything for you. He's not going to particularly be the greatest defender. You'll always see the best of him when you've got a Portsmouth coming onto you and his space behind, and there was no space, and he needs it to do what he can do. I'm not going to. I don't think he was any worse than anybody else. 6. I think I'm being a bit kind with a 6, but I'll stick with a 6.
Okay. Finally, Mitch, Andy Lyons.
Yeah, I think Lyons sort of summed us up as a team in the first 20-ish minutes. He was way up the pitch. He was playing like kind of an advanced winger, and he got some really good pressing in and looked really involved in the game. And then he just kind of disappeared as the game went on and became, I don't know, when he went off, I just thought, oh, Lyons is going off, and that was kind of us. I think Carey was pretty much the same as well as that. He wasn't terrible. He definitely was fouled for that first goal. I've watched that again. Their lad went through him, but 5.
Manager rating, Raggy.
Oh, 3.
Tim, Mark said in the comments, I think you lot must be feeling the Christmas spirit because of some shocking performances Saturday.
We're trying to be measured, Mark. We're trying to be measured. But I do think there's a couple in there that really should have been one lower. I think I'm guilty of one of those. But coming to Critch, I think it was a huge mistake to rest, unless there is another explanation, to rest 2 players who are performing well for us, and then not to play Casey if you're not going to play Ekpiteta. So I think it's a 4 from me. And no change. We needed to change something in the second half, and it was just all we did was bring players off and put similar players in the same position.
And I'll go with Raggy with a 3, because and in my defence of that, I've given Critch 10 this season when I thought he's got it right, and I thought he got it completely wrong, and I thought he got completely outmanaged by Neil Harris, who saw what was going on, shifted, and then, to be honest, from about 29 minutes, that Rhodes chance aside, they were pretty much the better side, controlled the game. We never looked like scoring, so
the stats paint that picture as well. Much bigger XG and loads more shots on target than we had. So, right, before we go, we've got Forest Green Rovers in the second round of the FA Cup on Tuesday night. What an absolute farce this game was, the way it's been handled by the FA. We've drawn Notts Forest away in the third round. Not a great draw, to be honest. So I think it's kind of really diluted this cup tie. I had bought tickets, so I'm probably going to go. Anyone else going?
I'm thinking of going because it gives me an excuse to get out of a works night out. So
yeah, I'm going. I had a look on the site before, the tickets. I don't know how accurate that site is for ticket sales, but they don't look well.
No, they weren't when I bought mine. That was quite a couple of days before.
It looks to me like it'd be about 2,500 plus whatever they bring. Which
I think the third,
which won't be very many on a Tuesday night, would it?
No,
I think the
it'd be
third
about
round. I
Sorry,
think the
mate.
third round draw has a bit to do with it as well, because it's like, if we go through, we get Forest away.
I know, on a Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So it's every which way. It's not very tempting.
It'll be about 4,000 now, I think, by the time it comes. But I hope we give them a good hiding, to be honest with you. Just send them packing. I don't know what's gone on with that. I've not even really read into whatever happened fully.
The Barnsley get kicked out. They don't. I think, was it to do with the keeper? And there was some. I think the rules are a bit more ambiguous, aren't they, in relation to the goalkeepers or something?
Yeah, but yeah, the rules are real. I mean, you can't have grey area with the rule, can you?
Unless there is a genuine grey area, because they were very quick and decisive in relation to Barnsley, weren't they? And that doesn't seem to have happened here at all. And the only losers really are us, because Forest Green, you know, they've won the replay and got reinstated and won the replay, and all we've now got is a huge amount of fixture congestion.
Yeah.
We should really have played that second round game on the third round day, and caught up.
I don't know whether the club have any recourse for claiming any money. I mean, they've got a Tuesday night game now instead of a Saturday game. It's all.
And they had all the spoilage from the first game, because it was it was only caught off relatively late in the stage. No doubt when they'd already put all the refreshment orders in.
It happens, doesn't it? I know it's nothing today. I know it's par for the course, but obviously we had the club over the road. Do we have it all staffed? Do you have the beer ready? Boom, game off. And you can get rid of the beer like later on in the. But yeah, it causes big problems, doesn't it? But if we do get 4,000 on Tuesday night, it likely would have been 6, wouldn't it? 6,000-7,000 on a Saturday. They were bringing 1,000, weren't they?
So Dave Jenkins has said that obviously there is a difference in that he says it was a lone player where they hadn't asked permission to play him. I suppose, do the rules deal with that? Where Barnsley played an eligible player, didn't they? So it was actually a player who, I think they played a player who was on loan at another club when the first game was played. In the replay, they played a player who couldn't have played for them in the first game. So I think it's a little bit more clear cut with that, but it's like clear as mud, in it. But they should have sorted out far earlier.
It's a simple thing, though, isn't it? It's a loan keeper. Had you asked permission? No. Well, he can't play then.
But I suppose the argument is.
The football authorities were a waste of time.
I know.
The theory is he could have been eligible, but they hadn't asked permission. Where there's no doubt Barnsley came, he wasn't eligible to play. There was no.
I know, but if you don't have to ask permission, then they've not broke any rule.
It depends how clear. I'm sure I read something that the rule wasn't that clear as to what the situation was. Obviously, they had the keeper on loan. He was one of their players, and it's how clear the rule is. And listen, sometimes these little things aren't as clear as they can be in the rules. Can be like wading through treacle.
I like the way Tim's not.
Somebody says they did have permission. I don't know.
I like the way Tim's not clear about what's not clear about the rule that wasn't clear.
A proper.
I think that if there is a distinction, it is that he was potentially eligible. Where with the Barnsley player, he definitely wasn't eligible. There's no way he
proper solicitor's answer. That's what you call that.
Yeah.
A proper solicitor's answer. That.
Yeah,
That's
Okay,
how you
there's
no
get
side to every
listening
story.
with this kind of answer.
two answers. There's always two answers, Raggy. The right one and the one that wins.
Yeah.
Right. On that note, I think we'll call it a day there. We've done that to death, haven't we? We've got Bristol Rovers at home just before Christmas.
23rd, isn't it?
23rd.
Next Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's thoughts on that quickly before we head off.
Well, they've just beat Bolton, but Bolton were down to 10 men, and I don't know how good Bristol Rovers are or how bad they are. I would suggest they're probably mediocre, so it'll be a 0-0 draw.
So we'll lose.
No, we'll lose.
Well, yeah.
Well, they're 11th in the league, but they're only 5 points behind us, and they've got 2 games in hand. So it's a 6-pointer.
It is.
But it is the 30th anniversary on Saturday of when the training ground plans were first submitted. So something to celebrate Saturday.
Well,
not long to go now.
I was on the plane back.
Performance, aren't we? That's this week after this crap. So
I was on the plane back, and I was sat next to this woman, and to be fair, her husband or partner was at the other end, so I didn't really speak to him much. But we sort of had a bit of a chat, and then she said to him, "Oh, he's a Blackpool fan," and he said, "Oh, you're having a new training ground built, aren't you?" And he was like from down south. So I said, "How do you know that?" And he said, "Oh, because I'm involved in one of the companies that going to be doing the work." And I thought, I didn't really get a chance to expand on the argument on the discussion because it was just as we were getting off the plane. But so I don't know what's going on, but
He might have just woke up out of a 30-year coma, that fella. I might be what that was.
yeah, he's been
Like Bobby Ewing.
call it thinking he's frozen. I don't know, but anyway, it was just ironic that somebody from down south, build a new training, and I thought, well, yeah, but when?
Crying out for football pitches in FY16.
Planning. Planning takes a long time.
Yeah, but they're not going to be available, are they? For you?
No. So I don't care really. That huge development's not going to be available for grassroots.
But we have got the most expensive striker in League One. Don't forget that.
And we've got the best striker in League One, who's got 14 goals for us. I actually just checked. I didn't realise he's on 14.
And we've got Jake Beasley. Come on.
And we've got
the most
Jake
expensive.
Beasley.
Yeah. We've got the best one, the most expensive one, and Jake Beasley.
Yeah. Bless him.
And on that note, I think we'll call it a day, shall we? Start the outro music. Right, yeah. So, will we do a Bristol Rovers preview? Possibly. Maybe not. See how the work week goes and how many work Christmas parties paid.
None of us know anything about the other teams to do previews, John.
So, Bristol Rovers, they're not as good as Bristol City. That's all we know.
Joey Barnes used to manage him.
Where's your
oh, Jesus.
Pirates done?
Right. Bye, everyone. Up the pool, I suppose.
Go the pool. Come on.
The pool.